Hello, dear children, welcome back. I'm Dr. Jisha Jo. In this session, we shall study the structure and function of the nucleus. We have studied in our lower classes that nucleus is the most important cell organelle. Why is it called as the most important cell organelle? Because it is the nucleus that controls all the activities of the cell. And the nucleus was first discovered by Robert Brown, and the number of the nucleus varies from cell to cell. Cells having a single nucleus is said to be a uninucleate cell. Sometimes certain cells will have many nuclei in them. They are called as multinucleate cells. And the shape of this nucleus also varies. Now coming to the structure of the nucleus. Nucleus is in animal cell. If you look at the nucleus is spherical in shape and it has a double membraned envelope. Okay, it is spherical in shape and it has a double membraned envelope. It is surrounded by a double membraned envelope. This double membraned envelope is called as the nuclear membrane. Okay, that is the nuclear membrane. It is formed of an outer membrane and an inner membrane. As you can see, there are two membranes there. That is why it is called a double membraned envelope. That is, it has an outer membrane and it also has an inner membrane, that is the outer membrane. And that is the inner membrane. And if you look at the outer membrane will have ribosomes and sometimes it will be continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum. The outer membrane will be continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum. That is the endoplasmic reticulum there. Okay, so the outer membrane will be continuous with the endoplasmic reticulum. Also, it will have ribosomes attached to it. Ribosomes will be present attached to the outer membrane, as you see here. Ribosomes will be present on the outer membrane. Whereas if you look at the inner membrane is smooth. Okay, so the nucleus is a spherical structure, spherical body. It is enveloped by a double layered membrane. The outer membrane is in continuation with the endoplasmic reticulum, and also you can see ribosomes attached to the outer membrane, whereas the inner membrane is smooth. And there is a space in between the two membranes. You can see a space there between the two membranes. This space is called as the perinuclear space. This space is called as perinuclear space. Okay, these red dots are the ribosomes that are attached. This is the endoplasmic reticulum. So the space between the two membranes is called as a perinuclear space. And if you look at the nuclear membrane, you can see the nuclear membrane is not continuous but has several pores there in between. Can you see small pores there? These pores are called as the nuclear pores. Nuclear pores. These pores are nuclear pores. And the function of the nuclear pores is to help in the exchange of materials, exchange of RNA and proteins from the nucleus to the cytoplasm or from the cytoplasm to the nucleus. Exchange of materials or substances between the from inside the nucleus to the cytoplasm, as well as from the cytoplasm to the nucleus. That is the function of the nuclear pore. Now, if you look at the inside, the inner region of the nucleus, you can see inside, in the inner region, there is a fluid matrix there. It is filled with a fluid substance, and this fluid is called as the nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm is the fluid that is present inside the nucleus, nucleoplasm. And this nucleoplasm contain the nucleolus and the chromatin fibers. Nucleolus and the chromatin fibers are present inside the nucleoplasm. That is the nucleolus and that is the chromatin fiber there. Okay, so that is chromatin and that is the nucleolus. Okay, so once again, till where we have learned, it is a spherical body. It is bounded by double membrane, and if you look at the outer membrane will be in continuation with the endoplasmic reticulum. It will also have ribosomes attached to it, whereas the inner membrane will be smooth. Then the nuclear membrane is not continuous but leave minute pores, and these pores are called as the nuclear pores, and the function of the nuclear pore is to exchange materials between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Then inside the nucleus or in the inner region, there is a fluid matrix which is called as the nucleoplasm, and the nucleoplasm contain the nucleolus and the chromatin. The nucleoli or the nucleolus is singular, nucleoli plural, and the nucleolus is, as you can see here, it is a spherical body and it is not bounded by any membrane. A spherical body which is not bounded by any membrane, that is nucleolus. And the function of the nucleolus is it helps in the synthesis of ribosomal RNA. Okay, nucleolus is the site for active synthesis of ribosomal RNA. And as the number of nucleoli increase inside the cell, it means that the cell is actively involved in protein synthesis. So in cells that are actively involved in protein synthesis, there will be large nucleoli, as well as the number also is more. Okay, large size and the number of nucleoli will be more in cells that are actively involved in protein synthesis. So that is with regard to the nucleolus. So they are spherical structures not bounded by any membrane. They are active. They are the sites for the synthesis of ribosomal RNA. There will be more number of nuclei and larger sized nuclei in cells that are actively involved in protein synthesis. The nucleus, as you can see in this figure, appears like this in cells which are in the interphase stage. What is the interphase stage? It is the stage of the cell during which the growth of the cell occurs, or the preparation of the cell takes place for cell division. It is the interphase stage during which the cell prepares for cell division. And we find the nucleus in this shape with the nucleolus and the chromatin fibers inside it during the interphase stage of the cell. And this chromatin fibers, you can see the fiber network of fiber present inside the nucleus. This dark staining network of the nucleoprotein fibers present inside the nucleus is called as the chromatin. Okay, what is chromatin? Network of dark staining nucleoprotein fibers present in the interphase nucleus is called as chromatin fibers. If you look at this structure of the chromatin or the chromatin fibers, you can see that the chromatin is composed of DNA, some basic proteins called histone proteins, some non-histone proteins, and RNA. So what are the components of the chromatin? They are composed of DNA, some basic proteins called histone proteins, some non-histone proteins, and RNA. Now, as I told you, so when will we see the chromatin in the form of these network of long fibers or threads? It is during the interphase stage. Now, as the cell proceeds towards cell division, or as the cell enters the cell division stage, these long network of fibers, which we call as the chromatin, condense and coil to form the chromosomes. So, as the cell enters into the cell division stage, the chromatin condenses and coil to form structures called chromosomes. So, what are chromosomes? Chromosomes are highly condensed, coiled chromatin fibers. So, if you look at the chromosome will appear like this. Okay, with the two arms, and there is, as if you look in the figure, you can see a primary constriction there. This constriction is called as the centromere. Okay, constriction, the primary constriction of the chromosome is called as the centromere, and on the sides of the centromere you can see disc shaped structures. On the sides of the centromere, which I am marking in red. These are the kinetocores. So that is the structure of the chromosome. So when will the chromatin form chromosomes? When the cell enters into the cell division stage, these long fibers condense and coil to form what we call as the chromosomes. And this is the structure of a chromosome. Each chromosome will have two arms. You can see the two arms of the chromosome, and the two arms of the chromosomes are called chromatids. And the chromatids of a chromosome are joined at a region which is called as the centromere or the primary constriction, and on the sides of this primary constriction or the centromere you can see disc shaped structures which are called as the kinetocores. So that is with regard to the chromosome structure. Now, based on the position of the centromere, there are 4 different types of chromosomes. How many types of chromosomes? 4 different types of chromosomes. On the basis of what? Based on the position of the centromere. The first type of chromosome is telocentric. In telocentric chromosome, the centromere is located on one end of the chromosome. That is, it will appear like this. That is the centromere at one end of the chromosome. That is, the centromere is terminal. So, such a type of chromosome is said to be telocentric. Okay, the second type of chromosome is acrocentric. Here the centromere is more towards the end, but not exactly at the end. It is more towards the end, forming, there will be extremely short arms and very long arms. So such type of chromosome is called or is said to be acrocentric. Here the centromere is situated more towards the end of the chromosome. It is not exactly at the end as you see here, but it will be more towards the end of the chromosome, so as to produce very short arms and very long arms. The third type of chromosome is the metacentric. Metacentric. In metacentric chromosomes, you can see the centromeres are located exactly at the center, producing two equal arms. The arms are of equal length on both sides of the centromere. The arms are of equal length. Such a chromosome is said to be metacentric. And the fourth type of chromosome is submetacentric. In submetacentric chromosome, the centromere is more towards the center. Okay, it is more towards the center, but not exactly at the center, producing short and long arms. Okay, can differentiate the arms? No, they are not exactly equal. Short and long arms are produced, but they are different from acrocentric. Here the short arms are extremely short, but here they are a little more longer, but you can clearly differentiate the short arms and the long arms because the centromere is not exactly at the center but more towards the center. So these are the four different types of chromosomes based on the position of the centromere. The first type is telocentric, where the centromere is located terminally at one end of the chromosome. Acrocentric, where the centromere is more towards the end of the chromosome, producing an extremely short arm and a very long arm. Then metacentric, where the centromere is located at exactly at the center, producing two equal arms. And submetacentric chromosome, where the centromere is located more towards the middle or more towards the center of the chromosome, so as to produce a shorter and a longer arm. So this is with regard to the classification of chromosomes based on the position of the centromere. Now, as we have seen, centromeres are primary constrictions. In certain chromosomes, you can see certain secondary constrictions which are non-staining regions, and those chromosomes which have the secondary constrictions are called satellite chromosomes. Okay, so when only a few chromosomes will have the secondary constriction, they are non-staining regions on the chromosome, which in addition to the primary constriction, certain secondary constrictions will be present, and chromosomes having the secondary constrictions are said to be satellite chromosomes. Okay, so that is with regard to the chromosome. So we have seen the structure of the nucleus, and we have seen why the nucleus is considered as the most important cell organelle, because it controls all the activities of the cell, and the genes, which are the hereditary materials, are located on the DNA, which are present on the chromatin fibers. We have seen that the chromatin is composed of DNA, histone proteins, non-histone proteins, and RNA. The genes, which are the hereditary materials, are located on the DNA, which are present on the chromosomes. And we know, we have seen the difference between chromatin and chromosomes. And we have also seen the different types of chromosomes based on the position of the centromere. So I hope you have understood what is the difference between primary constriction and secondary constriction. Primary constriction refers to the centromere. It is present in all the chromosomes, but only a few chromosomes will have secondary constrictions. In addition to the primary constriction, secondary constriction will be present, which is a non-staining region on the chromosome, and such chromosomes having secondary constrictions are called satellite chromosomes. So as we know, nucleus is present in all the living cells except a few cells, as in the case of mature RBCs. Mature erythrocytes lack the nucleus. This increases the efficiency of the erythrocytes to carry oxygen. Another type of cell which do not have the nucleus is the sieve tube cell. Where are the sieve tube cells present? Do you know? The sieve tube cells are present in the phloem of plants, and these cells also do not contain the nucleus. So children, I hope this session is clear to you. If you have any doubts or suggestions, please ask your doubts and give your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.